Hey guys, what's going on? So I wanted to give an update on the Bone Spirit build now that we've really started pushing with it. We've gotten to the point where we really feel the master workings are in line. We're seeing what the build at the higher output can do. And primarily I wanted to kind of revisit this now that this is the official best Necromancer build that we've got for Season 4. It has currently cleared tier 140, whereas minion builds have passed 130 or gotten to 138. So Bone Spirit is officially 2 levels above the next competitor, and we've surpassed minions. So I really wanted to take some time to go back through and revisit what we've done change-wise, what we're seeing that's working, what's not working. But I wanted to start the video by giving a huge shout out to the Sanctuary Discord Bone Spirit homies. We've been spending a lot of time the past couple weeks really digging in, making some minor tweaks here and there that have made a major impact on the output of the damage without sacrificing survivability. As well as we've really changed a little bit of how the mechanics work. So we're going, I'm going to go through all that and how that works. Now again, a lot of these changes are going to be for when you're in your in-game setup, when you've really masterworked to get it where you want it to be, and you've hit at minimum the crits that we're going to talk about in the gear here in just a second. But a huge shout out to them, huge shout out to Jobber. He's the one that reached 140. We've got some other guys passing 138 now, and trying to push up to the 140 as well. But just so everybody knows, a huge shout out to him for hitting 140. This is the build he is using, is this one. So the changes that we're going to talk about are going to be what he's utilizing to hit that 140. All right. So we're going to go through the gear real quick, then we'll go through the Paragon, the skills, and the Book of the Dead, and then we're going to kind of go over how you can interchange some of these mechanics depending on where you're at with your current gear. All right, so let's jump into it. So let's talk about the gear. Hat stayed the same. We're still on maximum resource as our GA primary, needing at minimum a double crit here. If you can hit 3, it's great, especially considering the new changes that we've made for the Book of the Dead. If you can't hit the triple for max resource, your best one to hit is going to be your max essence. I have been playing around with the lucky hit chance to stun, immobilize, freeze, just for staggering the boss for a little bit more DPS time. It's not really that impactful. I'd still probably roll for a decrepify size or the curse duration here rather than the lucky hit chance, but I'm not going to risk breaking it any further just because it's the only helmet I have. So take that the way you want it. The armor roll here can be interchanged in the chest plate or the glove. So wherever you hit your armor roll is fine. You just need 1 armor roll and 1 total armor percent temper. I happen to hit it on the helmet, so I rolled with it. But again, you can interchange the armor in your chest or gloves with this helmet, and you can replace maximum life or int in that roll as well, which one you had. We're using Blood Getter here. This is the first major change that we've made to this build. Went from Aphotic for the CDR. We're now using Blood Getters. Blood Getters actually gives us a 21% damage increase on top of giving a nice little sustain from the heal we get from that buff as well. And every little heal helps as you're going, because the higher HP you have, the more you overpower, and the more you're sustaining, because the more you're staying alive, the more damage you're doing and able to progress. For the chest plate, again, armor's interchangeable here. I have max life, but you're at minimum. You're going to want your GA for your macabre skills. We're using Hardened Bones for your master workings. At minimum, you need to hit Macabre twice. Preferably, you hit this 3 times. The other ones are not impactful. Getting this to 3 is your ideal for damage output. If you can't, Essence per second is going to be your third one for your ideal, just to keep your regen going. For your gloves, we're using Grasping Veins. Same thing here, minimum GA on your core skills. You do need crit strike chance on the gloves. So your intelligence roll is the one that would be interchangeable here for your armor value if you wanted to hit it on your gloves. For your GH, at minimum, you want to hit it twice, preferably 3 times for your core skills, because that will get it to 7. Again, your output for damage. If you're short on crit strike chance, and going into Season 5, this will likely be one of the changes for this build, is getting this G8 and potentially even critting it, because we're losing the 5% crit strike chance from Grasping Veins. But for now, you don't need to GA or crit it. For your tempers, your one you want to hit primarily is going to be your Bone Spirit damage. Your second one can be whatever. I've bricked these gloves, so be it. These are what I've got. Do not roll corpse explosion size. You're going to want tendril size or decrepify size or cursed duration. You could even roll one of the lucky hit chance to stun here as well. For your pants, we're going for Blood Moon Breaches. This stays the same. You're still looking for GA at minimum on your amplified damage. Your next best one is going to be your maximum life. For your crits, legendaries act differently, so you will never get amplified to 4. So you need to crit it only 1 time, and at 12 it will reach that 3 value. Your next best options here are going to be hit your crits on maximum life. DR is not bad as well as an option. For your boots, very similarly to your other core skill ranks, you're going to want to hit your GA for Bone Spirit. At minimum, hit it twice. 3 is ideal to get it to 8. If not, again, this one, if you hit essence per second, great. I would have loved to hit movement speed. I just like moving, especially how mobile this build is and does require you to be on the move quite a bit, and there's no inner calm to keep standing still. There's nothing that impacts being near your minions. So movement speed here is fine. You're moving a lot, dodging and stuff, so preferably 3 on Bone Spirit. If not, movement speed or essence per second is fine. Occult Dominion here for your aspect to get the extra 2 Reapers. For your weapon, nothing's changed here. We're on Int, Max Life, and Overpower. Your tempers, you need Bone Spirit damage and Bone Spirit size. Your tempers here ideally would be Intelligence and potentially even get the Bone Spirit size, so you hit that 100% on that, using Serration in the aspect slot. For your offhand, there is one change here. This is still the best I've got, so I'm not changing it. With the new changes that we're going to talk about in the Book of the Dead, ideally, you would want Int, cooldown reduction, and maximum resource. With the change of removing Aphotic, we have less CDR, so getting the CDR for Tendrils is really great, just to keep the crit up for bosses. But this is fine too. I still have no issues with it rolling Int, Max Life, and Max Resource. At minimum, you have to have GA on your maximum resource, and you're going to want to hit that twice at minimum. Third would be great. If not, sure. For the ones that do have a CDR, CDR is a good one to hit. If not, it's Int also. For your rings, they are going to be identical. Int, Max Life, and Crit Strike damage. Ideally, you want your Int GA'd. For your crits, at minimum, you need to hit your Macabre Restores Essence twice, 3 times ideally. And your other tempers Bone Spirit damage, and this is going to be identical for both rings. We're using Ring of Torment for your Restore. I will take note that if you're critting on your Restore skills here 3 times, as well as if you get any GAs on Max Essence, you can actually drop Torment. And this is a big change that we've been able to identify now that we're further into the Master Workings, that you can actually drop the Torment and slot in a Cadaverous, which is a really awesome buff to the damage. Or you could slot Edge Masters back in, since we've replaced Edge Masters with Sacrificial. And then Requiem on the other one to get your Max Essence up for all of your Reapers. For your Amulet, we're still on Banished Lord's Talisman. Same thing as the legs. Critting your core skill once will get it to 3. The main stats you're looking for here is going to be a GA for core, preferably a GA on resource generation, and you want to hit your 60% multiplier damage as the aspect. For your crits, preferably you would get 3, your 1 crit to core skills. I am a little short on crit chance because I don't have any GAs, so I have no problem hitting the crit on crit strike chance, also because it's a mid-roll. But if your crit strike chance is good, your resource generation is going to be your best bet for your other 2 crits. All right, that's the gear. So let's look at the Book of the Dead. The Reaper stayed the same. This will be, this still won't change going into Season 5, just as an FYI. Even though they're fixing this, we are still going to be using the corpses. But the big change here now is we've slotted in the overpowered damage with the sacrifice. This is huge because previously we were using the mages that gave us a 15% modifier by having additional mages out because we were needing to reach that essence cap. Well, now that we've gotten to the point where we're seeing how the build functions and really works out well, with the Bone Prison giving us 42 max essence and Bone Graft and having the crits on the maximum resource, we're still steadily over 300 in combat. Yes, you will have to do an extra Decrepify in the beginning to get your first overpower going, but once you do and you're in combat, you keep that up. Bosses, again, takes one rotation and you're back up to that max, and you sustain that throughout. There's not any downtime once you do that. So getting this overpowered multiplier here is pretty massive for this build, and we've seen a lot of high damage increase from that. We're still sacking the Iron Golem for the crit damage as well. Going into the Paragon board, we're going to go through this very quickly. There weren't major changes other than slotting in a 7th board. Previously, we had slotted in just the 7th board to get some of the additional additive damage, but we made some tweaks to the turning and a few points we saved here and there to actually be able to reach that 7th board. So I'm going to go over this quickly. There will be a Paragon planner, and the whole planner will be in the description of this video. So your starter board, we have control. It's just to get the bonus here, slotting in the maximum resources and max HP here, damage and max HP here, and then just getting here the additional damage. We're already armor capped, so there's no reason to go up that side. We're able to do it here just to get some additional additive damage on the way out. Your next board is going to be your Bone Graft. We're using maximum essence from Reinvigorate, crit strike chance from Entomb. This is a pretty big have, just simply because we are trying to get to that extra crit strike chance to be 100%, and it's on the way to Bone Graft, so it's an easy pickup. Here we're picking up Tenacity, which is our biggest maximum life bonus, and then for the glyph itself, we're using Essence, and we pull enough Dexterity to reach the bonus from that glyph slot there. Third board over here is going to be your Flesh Eater. For the rare nodes, they're not impactful. It's additive damage. The resistance is pretty big because this is a resistance strapped build. And then for the Glyphs Locket, we're slotting in Corporeal here. And it does just give us some extra additive as well as granting us the additional resistance to hit resist cap. Next board is your Cult Leader board. This is how we're going to keep our Reapers up. We are using the extra custody here for the damage reduction. This one is meaningless. We don't care about their damage, but it is the additional 10... we get the additional 10 intelligence to meet the node here, and it's on the way out of the board. Your next board is going to be Bloodbath. We are taking the node for extra overpowered damage. On the way there, we're getting more maximum life and some additive damage. Great. This is interchangeable here. You don't have to use this. If you wanted to pick up an HP node, you could. This is, again, just an additional int here. It doesn't impact getting any dexterity, so these 2 points you could slot in. For example, there's an HP node here. You could pick up another resistance node here if you need it. So these 2 points right here are 100% your freebie 2 points. You can do whatever you need to meet the requirements of your build based on your personal stats. But we did slot in Gravekeeper here. This does give the additional int, whatever, not a big deal. But we're looking here just for the multiplier damage. Your next board here is Scent of Death. No rare nodes here to worry about. We're just simply getting it for the Dominate, so we get the additional Overpower multiplier. And your last board we're slotting in is Blood Begets Blood. And it's an int board, so we get the 2 over here. These are not impactful. These are just additional additive damage, even though it is a substantial amount. And down here, it's just additional Blood Orb healing, which is actually pretty cool when we get to the skills and what we've changed there. Just for sustain. And again, we're using Amplify for anything that's cursed is going to get an additional multiplier on that. For your skill tree, the big changes here, nothing really changed until we get down to the Corpse Tendrils. We are now slotting in, ignore this, this was for bossing. We're actually using the Blighted Corpse Tendrils for pushing because we're able to maintain a high uptime on Vulnerable with Bone Prison, so we don't need to worry about Vulnerable anymore. We are just worried about sustain as we're doing the high pushes, and being able to slot in Blighted Corpse the Blighted Corpse Tendrils here gives us a massive sustain on the heals that we get from that. And then we have the Inspiring Leader, and everything else has stayed the same. So your skill tree doesn't change much. It was just some changes to the Paragon, and that pretty much covers that. Now, as far as some of the things you can slot in, if you are short on Essence, go ahead and keep using this 15% multiplier for your mages in your Book of the Dead by using the Shadow here for the 3% multiplier. It gives you the additional essence to keep you at the 275 cap. The other change is if you are still having a little rough time with the bone in your bone prison, you can slot back in the grasping veins there. For bosses, and I was just running some Liliths and some of the tormented bosses just to kind of get some baseline damage numbers. I did slot back in vulnerable just because I wanted the vulnerable for those bosses and because we're not really getting a lot of blood orbs from tendrils on bosses. Other than that, the changes are pretty basic. You can, we have tested out some of the ideas behind using Shaco. Shaco is a viable option for pushing. You do lose some damage on the higher end. I think the highest clear with Shaco is right now is either a 137 or a 138. Corswain, I can't remember if he hit 138. He's been doing a lot of testing with the Shaco, but it is viable. It does lose a lot of damage as you get into the really high 130s. So ideally you would stick with the legendary helmet. And that's it. The build is currently, like I said, with 140 with the patch notes to PTR. If everything stays the way it is, this build got a massive buff from multiple things. So I do expect to see this going into Season 5 as one of the top builds, if not the top build again. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the PTR changes, if there's going to be any changes going into Season 5 from the patch notes. All right, guys, that's it. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, things you're testing with it that you've seen work better, let me know. Shoot them down in the comments. And if you're liking the videos, please subscribe. It'll help me out a lot. And I appreciate y'all watching, and y'all have a great day.